This is the Toyota Sienna. And this generation has been around since 2021 and not a lot has changed since then. But the minivan segment, it evolves slowly, and basically the Sienna is just as competitive as it's always been, and a big part of that is what makes it unique. Every Sienna is a hybrid. I'm James Riswick. Let's take a look at the Toyota Sienna in this review powered by Capital One Auto Navigator. Let's start off with the big number, 36 miles per gallon combined. That's with front-wheel drive, and it only goes down to 35 with all-wheel drive. And that's actually another distinctive thing about the Sienna. Honda and Kia don't offer all-wheel drive. Now there is a Kia Carnival hybrid, which is very good in its own right, but every other minivan, including the gas-only Carnival, has a V6 engine. And all of their fuel economy is in the low 20s. According to EPA data, you could save at least $1,000 every year by going with a Sienna instead of one of those. And you could save even more if you lived in a place with high gas prices like, I don't know, Southern California. And to be fair, there is a trade-off. The hybrid system produces only 245 horsepower, which in a big three-row vehicle like this is not a lot. If you are going uphill, if you have a whole load of people and a dog and their stuff, it's going to feel strained. It's also going to sound kind of like a blender, even at more lighter loads than this. Besides the acceleration though, I really like driving the Sienna. The steering, it's precise. The handling, even on a very winding road like this, it's composed, and the ride quality everywhere is very good. You know, the Sienna used to be kind of a floaty boat to drive. This isn't. Want to see more videos about the latest cars, trucks, SUVs, and minivans? Subscribe to the Capital One Auto Navigator channel. So enough about what mom and dad are experiencing, let's talk about Kidland. Now there are two second row configurations. There's a second row bench seat with a removable middle seat that in total allows for 8 passengers. But this trim has these super long slide captain's chairs with a total capacity of 7. As the name implies, these slide super long. Yep, I'm still going. If you have older, bigger kids, if you go on road trips, if you just want to put a great big dog bed right here, this is a great feature. Now you can also slide these with a car seat attached using the typical latch anchors, or if you have a car seat like mine that uses the seat belt. And that's possible because the seat belt is attached to the seat itself. If this was attached to the pillar, these would be no slide captain's chairs. This is of course the third row, and relatively speaking, it's one of the Sienna's weaker parts. This seat, it's flat, it's low, it's kind of short, and these windows are really small. It's kind of dungeony back here. But that said, I'd much rather sit back here than in any 3-row crossovers. In terms of cargo space, every minivan is so enormous that differences in cargo volume are basically inconsequential. Now, that second row functionality does come into play if you intend to use your minivan as a moving van, because although these slide super longly, you can't take them out. Back up front, this tall center console and this traditional shifter make the Sienna feel less overtly van-like when behind the wheel. In terms of storage, it's kind of hit or miss. This bin here, it's like comically deep. This under console area is huge enough to store a pretty big purse. And then there's lots of little trays and cubbies all over the place for odds and ends. Then there are 4 cup holders up here. Well, that seems good, but they're not actually that useful. Let's try them out. Big cup. Does fit, but it's all wobbly. Doesn't really fit here, and nope. A big metal water bottle. Nope, doesn't really fit there. Nope. LOL. And then just a standard kind of travel coffee cup. Yes, yes, no. These are really only useful for a soda can or maybe a to-go coffee cup. So, not as good as it seems. This 12.3-inch digital instrument panel is standard on the XSE trim and higher, including this Woodland. The 2 lower trims have an analog gauge cluster. Now, all but the lowest LE trim have this 12.3-inch touchscreen that features Toyota's familiar, easy-to-use tech interface that does include standard wireless Apple CarPlay in Android Auto, and wireless charging, it's standard. In terms of safety tech, all the driver assistance systems are standard apart from reverse automatic braking, but even then it's only the LE that misses out on that. But these systems are now a few generations behind Toyota's latest. So some of them, especially the lane keeping system, feels a little unsophisticated and inconsistent in its performance compared to what you'd get in newer Toyotas as well as the Kia Carnival. As for safety ratings, the Sienna is not an IIHS top safety pick, but then none of the minivans are because of similarly iffy ratings in a particular new crash test. The Sienna actually did better than all of them overall. From a price perspective, it's a little tough because the lineups of the various minivans, they don't exactly align. The Honda Odyssey effectively doesn't have a base trim, and again, this is hybrid only. So basically, the Sienna isn't as expensive as it seems. That said, I would say you might find a bit more bang for your buck from that Kia Carnival hybrid, especially at the top of their lineups. Either way though, when it comes to minivans, I do think that looking at one of the hybrids first is the way to go. But for more information about the Toyota Sienna as well as all of those hybrids, make sure to go to Capital One Auto Navigator.